Welcome to Get Unstuck Radio. This is a pop-up podcast live on TikTok where I am going to help you get unstuck, which means start to move your life forward. Start to move forward on the projects you want to do, on the life you want to live, start to get out of the ruts that you have found yourself in. None of this is your fault, and I'm going to help you get there step by step, episode by episode. So welcome. Thank you for being here. If you're just joining, my name is Ingrid Turner. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, what are we talking about today, my loves? We're talking about how to get yourself unstuck. Specifically, we're talking about why it is you cannot take action on the things you want to take action on, like the things you want to do. You have an idea, you have a dream, you have a desire, you have shit you want to do, and you keep finding yourself stuck. You keep finding yourself hitting a wall. You keep finding yourself not able to do the things you need to do in order to move forward towards your desires and your goals. And the first thing I'm going to tell you about that is it is not your fault. It is not about being too lazy. It is not about a shitty mindset. It is not about any of that. Anything that you're experiencing there is a symptom of what's really, really going on. Okay, so let's get into it. First step, if you want to take inspired action on your life, move towards your goals, you got to make sure that you want what you want. Make sure that what you want is in alignment with your soul, my sweet love. So that's the difference between an ego desire and a soul desire. Your soul desire is going to feel different than your ego desire. And if you have some ideas about that, I want to hear in the comments. But for me, if I have a desire originating from my ego, if I really want something, it actually comes with contraction. It comes with frustration. It comes with desperation. It comes with this contracting in my body. I physically feel it contract in my body. When I want something and it's a desire from my soul, from my spirit, something I incarnated for, it doesn't feel like that at all. It might feel scary. It might feel challenging, but it's going to feel expansive in my body. It's going to feel light. It's going to feel like I'm magnetized towards that. When I was working in corporate, I had this idea of who I wanted to be. I wanted to be an executive. I wanted the title. I wanted the salary. I wanted all of that. When I wanted that and I was pursuing that, my life contracted. I worked really hard at it and had a hard time getting ahead. I ended up as just this ball of anxiety and contracted energy, and I actually turned to a lot of alcohol and other self-sabotaging behaviors, which made me tumble down to the bottom, down to rock bottom. When I hit the rock bottom, then I had to evaluate my life and see what the hell I was doing. 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago now, I made this shift, and it was a big, brave thing to do. And I used all the steps that I'm going to teach you through this podcast series, this Get Unstuck Radio podcast series. So give me a follow if you're not following me already, so you can be notified when I go live and you can join in and follow along. So my soul, yes, is spirituality. And that has taken several different permutations. I started out as just being a psychic reader, and now I'm a teacher and I'm a mentor. And I find that is just, that's my heart and my soul. I'm also a mystic, a traveling mystic, right? So I'm following my soul's desire and it pulls me along. Whereas when I was trying to be a corporate executive, first of all, I sucked at it. And second of all, I was miserable. And yet I didn't understand that it wasn't what I wanted. It was what I was conditioned to want, which we're going to get into in a minute here. So, what do you want? I want you to think about what it is you want in life. And I'd love to hear what it is you believe you want, what your heart's desire is, what you feel your heart's desire is. Leave a comment and tell me what it is. What do I want? And then we're going to take it to the body. And you're going to ask yourself, how does this make me feel? Do I contract or does it make me feel expansive? And the other thing to add that you want to look for, with whether it's a mind desire, an ego desire, or a soul desire, is it logical? Here's the kicker. A desire from your soul is not logical. A desire from your ego, the mind jumps in on that and goes, yeah, let's make a list, right? Let's justify all the things that the mind and ego wants. See, the ego is not the bad guy, but it's got a specific purpose, is to keep you safe. And in order to keep you safe, it likes to keep you contained. And the reason it does that is because we are taught to put the ego in charge, and that it is way above its pay grade when it's in charge of our life. And so it is justifying all of our pushing towards desires that are not authentically ours. A soul desire won't make a lot of sense. You'll just feel it. You'll just know it. And that's one of the things that makes it so scary, because we are taught to rely on the stories, to rely on the ego. And when we're relying on the ego and we go, but this is what I want, but it doesn't make sense. How am I going to make money from that? How am I going to do that? I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. I don't know, whatever it is, right? That's the fear. But when you first tap into that soul desire, you're going to feel the expansion before the mind comes in and tries to talk you out of it. So tell me, when you think about what you want out of life, think about it. What do I want? I want to write. I want to be a spiritual helper. I want to do fashion. I want whatever it is. If you want it, it is meant for you. If it lights you up in your body, it is meant for you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The journey, the work is to get over the obstacle course of ego and self-sabotage in order to align with that desire so that it comes to you, not you to it. I mean, you'll walk towards it, but you'll take one step towards that desire. It'll take 10 steps towards you, because once you lock in with your soul, the whole universe is conspiring to make this happen. You've heard that quote, right? The whole universe is conspiring to give you what you want. I always say the universe loves to spoil us rotten. It wants to. We have to let it by lining up with our soul desire. So that's the first step, is making sure that it is a soul desire as opposed to an ego desire, because there's no amount of hustling and bustling and mindset work and body work and all that you can do to make an ego desire fulfilling for you. All right. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you are tapped in. Is your desire a soul desire, or is it an ego desire? And there's no wrong answer, because even if you realize it's an ego desire, it's cool. Now you know. Now you know. And a miss is just as valid as nailing it. You got to know what you don't want in order to know what you do want. That's an Abraham Hicks line, right? So true. So nice to see you guys jumping on here. Hello, if you're just joining, my name is Ingrid. I am a spiritual mentor, and I'm here to help you get unstuck. This is a pop-up podcast. We're going to do 9 episodes all together. You hit the first one. Give me a follow so you're notified when I go live next time. And I'm here to help you move forward on what you really want in life, on your authentic self-expression, on your desires, on the life that you want to live. It's so easy for us to get stuck. And it's not too hard to get unstuck, and I can guide you through that. So that's what I'm doing here right now. And I welcome your comments and I welcome your questions as we are moving through. Hello, Dina Darla. Nice to see you on here. Hi, honey. Okay. So number 1, to get unstuck, know if you know that you want what you want. You want what you want. Number 2, here's how you're stuck. There are 3 sort of categories of stuck. First, let's talk about triggers. What is a trigger? What is a trigger? A trigger is an over-the-top emotional response to a situation. It's somebody leaves a nasty comment on a Facebook post and you freaking blow your lid, right? It's your mom giving you disapproval about something that you're doing and you blow your lid, right? None of us escape the triggers. We all have areas where we get triggered. In the context of getting stuck, of not being able to take action on the desires that you have, your authentic desires, then those triggers can look like, some common ones would be like abandonment. If you feel like you're getting abandoned, you get triggered. Another one would be rejection. When you get rejected, when somebody says no and slams the door in your face, it can feel really triggering. And remember that over-the-top emotional response, like I say it's over the top because it is, but it doesn't feel like it's over the top. It feels really, really real. And so facing down that trigger of rejection or that trigger of abandonment, like abandonment from family or friends, If suddenly you're in a tribe, right, whether it's a group of friends or your family, and you're moving up and your frequency is shifting because you're doing this work to better yourself and move towards your soul's desire, your frequency shifts, and then you can get abandoned by the people who you love and you rely on, and that is hard. And it is a universal experience for people who do this spiritual work, is to face down that abandonment. So that's a big trigger that people don't want to face, or when they do, they contract. Right? Whew, and they come back into it. Thank you so much for the follows, guys, and for jumping on and joining. I'm so excited to hear your comments, hear your questions, anything you got. My name is Ingrid Turner. If you're just joining, I am a spiritual mentor, and I'm here doing this pop-up podcast, Get Unstuck Radio. And we have 9 episodes. You've hit the first one. Give me a follow to make sure you get notified when I go live again. And I'm also going to put these episode recordings in my Stan store as well, which is the link in my bio. So it's not there yet because this is the first one, but those past episodes will be there. So, triggers. Here's another thing that falls into triggers that I was thinking about too. So I've been looking at attachment theory. And if you're not familiar with attachment theory, there's avoidant attachment, anxious attachment, and then fearful avoidant attachment. And it's all coping mechanisms for how people deal with their triggers in relationship. So when you're triggered in a relationship, and we always are triggered in a relationship, it is how we cope. An anxious person might zero in and do everything they can to not feel abandoned, right? An avoidant person will be like, how do I not be smothered, right? Don't cage me down. That's a trigger for some people, is having their freedom taken away, right? So it's kind of a way that you could look at it as well. And that's what I mean by triggers. So let me ask you, what are some other triggers that people might experience that prevent them from taking action on the things that they want to do, on moving towards their authentic desire? What are some other triggers? Go ahead and leave a comment, and I would love to hear, because I'm sure there are a lot more, and I'm sure you got some that I hadn't thought of too. In the meantime, another way we get stuck in life is through self-sabotage, right? Self-sabotage can look like feeling not good enough, right? Imposter syndrome. Interestingly, imposter syndrome is as much of an ego game as look at me, look at me, look at me. It's just a more socially acceptable version of the ego, because it's like, I'm not good enough. Well, how can you give somebody grief for feeling like that? You want to build them up. But when we are in imposter syndrome and thinking we're not good enough for something, our ego is still looking to keep us small. It's still looking to keep us trapped and to distract us by looking for validation, right? And there's no judgment here. I have dealt with, and my clients have dealt with, we've all dealt with all of this, right? It's a human experience. Other ways that we might self-sabotage, and I want to hear your comment. I want to see your comments here. I want to hear what you have to say. Laziness, right? All of a sudden, now I'm just exhausted. I have no motivation, total lack of motivation. Perfectionism is an interesting form of self-sabotage. Oh, well, I can't do it because it's not good enough. I can't put it out there because it's not good enough. I can't pull the trigger. I can't make the phone call. I can't do it because it's not good enough. It's not good enough yet. I have to keep working on it. I have to keep tuning it. Guess what? Better. It's good. It's best to put it out there and refine as you go. I am here to tell you, action. But perfectionism, that's a self-sabotage, right? What's another one? Procrastination, right? In the same vein as perfectionism, but you might have a different story around it. And so you might not do something because you're like, well, I have all this to do. That's the thing, is deep, shitty priorities. Okay. So instead of making the call that's going to potentially open a door for you, you vacuum the floor, right? I got to do the dishes, or I got to scrub the sink. I got to get my toothbrush out and clean around the toilet. Things like that, right? Things like that are the procrastination and the way that we self-sabotage. And I had an interesting comment here from Watcher. I have no motivation because I don't know what I want. So yeah, back to question number 1, what do I want? And if you don't know what you want, that's okay. You will know what you want when you get into the silence. When you get into your spiritual practice and you show up every day for your silent time, for your heart, for your spirit, however it is you want to, however it is that you want to show up for yourself, for spirit, the desire will bubble forth from you. And if you don't know what you want, you kind of got a leg up because you're not distracted by what your ego wants, right? You got room for what your soul wants. 333, right on. My little camera thing. Dad wounds, right? Yeah, that goes Back to triggers, being triggered by dad, having the dad wounds, all of that. Envy is another form of self-sabotage. Interestingly, when you envy somebody else, you're actually seeing what is possible for you, but you're sabotaging it by misinterpreting the emotion and the energy as something negative. Try and flip that next time. When you see somebody doing what you want to do, if I'm up here doing the kind of thing that you want to do and being in spiritual leadership and helping people in a spiritual capacity, and you feel a twinge of envy, know that I am mirroring back to you what is possible for you. And that's a really cool way to look at it. So you can start to look at that. So what are some other forms of self-sabotage? Leave a comment and tell me how it is, how are some of the ways you sabotage yourself, right? What are some of the things you do? And we are not taking this personally. You are not the bad guy. You are not doing anything wrong. I want to say this again and again and again. Baby, it is just a universal human experience. But until we can see it, we can't change it. And so many people have a hard time looking at their stuff honestly because they take it personally and they think it makes them bad. And there's a lot of shame around it. But baby, there is no shame. There's no shame. Once you see it, game over. It has to change. That's how powerful you are. So the third way we get stuck in life and don't have the ability to move forward on our dreams and our desires and our goals is because we have these fucking unhelpful patterns showing up in our life. And what do I mean by that? Think bad relationships. Right? This is especially common for people who are smart and successful in the world and in their career, but they have a lot of shit in their past. And so they hold themselves back through their relationships, right? They'll be doing pretty good up here and then they'll have a shit show of a relationship. Codependency patterns, right? Abusive patterns, being on the receiving end of abuse or being abusive yourself, right? No bueno, bad patterns. Another pattern that can show up is addiction. And this doesn't just have to be substances. This is one of my patterns that I have to really watch closely. I got sober in 2013. I just had my 12-year alcohol-free sober anniversary. And so alcohol, like I mentioned earlier, was a big problem for me. That was a way that I seriously self-sabotaged. But now I have to watch my addictive patterns because I'll doom scroll, right? Or I'll obsess about something, right? It's the obsessive mind. I'll start to focus and obsessive on something else. And that addictive behavior, that's a self-sabotage pattern. Also, there's ancestral patterns that we're dealing with. So it's not just your energy, it's familial energy, it's cultural energy, right? So if you come from a family where it's like, we've always been poor, we take pride in surviving, right? And you find that your sole desire is to be a CEO, right? Of a startup or something, and that lights you up. And you're trying to, and with that comes a bunch of money because that's your soul's desire. Not everybody has that soul's desire, but say you do. And you come from a family that says, no, we're poor, right? We're lower middle class. Like, this is how we survive. This is what we do. You got to be one of us. It can be really hard to disconnect from that pattern, right? From that pattern of poverty. And this brings it full circle. So your triggers lead to self-sabotage, which creates unhelpful patterns. That's a circle we got going on. Triggers lead to self-sabotage, which creates unhelpful patterns. So that, in a nutshell, is how we get stuck. And this is a universal human experience. Nobody on the planet does not deal with this cycle of triggers, self-sabotage, and patterns. Now, it might look really different for you versus a billionaire's kid. But I assure you, the billionaire's kid is also dealing with these patterns of triggers, self-sabotage, and unhelpful patterns with this cycle. And you don't have to worry about the billionaire kid, okay? We're just going to focus on you. Your experience is what matters. Getting into comparison, another form of self-sabotage, comparing yourself to other people. Don't do it. Dina has addictive behavior, healing through that, and more aware of what is important. Yep. It's not uncommon for really spiritual, open people to have a history of addiction because there's this wide opening to spirit. God wants to fill the vessel. And when we don't know how to tap into God, we try and fill that with anything we can get our hands on. right? Anything at all. And that's why a lot of people, a lot of my students, a lot of people I work with have a history of addiction. There's no judgment, right? There's never any judgment with me. I will never judge you for your past. I will never judge you for where you're at right now. If you show up in my world and you are consistently doing the work, I don't care where you're at on your journey. I don't care how fast or how slow you're going. You are welcome in my world, because that's what's the most important thing to me, is continuing to become the best version of you. And it is a practice. And I don't know anybody who actually pulls it off in a lifetime, but it sure is a fun journey. It's a beautiful journey, because the act of becoming is so gratifying. I mean, every day, every year, you're becoming more and more and more whole and complete in who you are and letting go of who you are not. And you become happier, more fulfilled, more compassionate, more loving, more in love with everything and everyone. It is a beautiful journey, and I'm here for it. And anybody else who wants to join me. Yes. So this pattern, trigger, self-sabotage, the unhelpful patterns, this cycle is universal. No matter what your background, your socioeconomic status, whatever it is, we all do it. We all deal with it. And here's why it happens, why this is a universal human experience. It is because of stuck energy in the body. It is not because you're lazy. It's not because you have a shitty mindset. It's not because you need to work harder. It's not because whatever, it's not your fault. It is the result of stuck energy in the body. And that is the result, essentially, of us not knowing how to feel our feelings. We don't know how in the moment to have our full human experience. Nobody teaches us to just be with the experience of the moment. And the result is we have a lot of experience that has been served up for us that we have not had. Because we don't know how to deal with the emotions of the moment. We stuff it. We shove it, we hurl it outside of us, we run from it, we do whatever we got to do to survive the moment. And what happens? So that emotion, that is energy in motion. That energy in motion, when that is interrupted, what happens to that energy? What happens to that emotion? That goes to the safest place it knows. So to wait for you to get present with that experience so you can fully have it. It goes into the body, and it usually stores itself somewhere along the chakra line, right? If you have a lot of stuck energy in the throat, there's speaking stuff. In your belly, creativity, sensuality, that kind of a thing. We can get into more of that later. So, no one taught us how to do it, but I'm going to teach you how to do it. Here's the thing. Here's what I want you to do about it. Well, let me back up. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I want to add to that. So the energy gets stuck in the body. So here's how you get rid of it. Here's how you clear out the energy to break this cycle of triggers, self-sabotage, and unhelpful patterns. Because you can't white knuckle your way out of that cycle. Nobody can. Because it's not a mind thing. It's not a willpower thing. It's a body thing. Because until we can be present with the emotions that are in the body, the stored up emotions in the body, we cannot make room for something new. And that's why we get stuck. Because we're constantly being pulled back to what has not been experienced, what has not been expressed. I don't really like the word process, because I don't think it's about processing it. It's about presence. Stacy, I continue to do this to myself. Beautiful, honey. It's about presence with the energy in the body. So how do we get unstuck? How do we start moving forward, taking action today on our heart's desire, our soul's desire? How do we get clear on what that even is? You deal with what's in front of you. So you don't go digging around in the past to try and figure out what your trauma is, or why you are the way you are, or who made you believe the things about you that are not true. That doesn't matter. You deal with what's in front of you, because whatever is triggering you now, whether that's somebody left a shitty comment on my TikTok video, or it's my friend snubbed me, or it's my partner didn't buy me flowers for my birthday. Whatever it is that is just got you triggered in this moment, that is bringing up some kind of wound that over the top emotional response, no matter how justified, if they may be really shitty, but your response feels out of control. That's a trigger. Whatever's showing up for you right now in life, that's what we're going to deal with. That's what we're going to work with. That's what we're going to do. And what happens is when you work with what's in front of you, it actually clears out all the energy from the past without you having to go back to the past. Christine, do I have Scandinavian heritage? Wondering because of your first name. I do not. I'm German and English. But my dad was on a Viking kick when I was born. So I've got a Scandinavian name and my little brother has a Scandinavian name. Before that, he was on a Native American kick. So my older brother's named Little Hawk. So he was just an eclectic dude. And that's how I ended up with the name I ended up with. Cute question. Thank you. Back to dealing with what's in front of you. Make a commitment to dealing with what's in front of you. Step number 2, slow down to speed up. The tendency is to try and rush through this. Let me get this out of the way so I can get on with my life, right? So I can get unstuck. Don't. Take a breath. Slow down. When you go slow, you go fast. And it's totally counterintuitive, but the urgency for speed is your ego coming in to sabotage. It's another form of self-sabotage. So slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. Number 3, put the story away. Somebody triggers you, okay? Boyfriend didn't buy you flowers. That's a silly example, but it's what I come up with on the spot. And he should have. He absolutely should have bought you flowers. It was a shitty thing to do, to forget or not bother to buy you flowers. It's hurtful, it's not okay, and you deserve better. That's the story. And it's not that the story's not true, but as long as we're living in the mental understanding of what happened, living in the story, then we can't clear it. We can't have the full experience. Because when you're stuck in the story and looping on the story, your ego is pulling you out of your body. You're not actually feeling your feelings. You're intellectualizing your feelings. You're thinking your feelings. And it feels like you're feeling your feelings. It seems like it, but you're not. So I use the analogy of put the story on the shelf, just temporarily. We take it down later, right? Just put it aside for right now. And then you use the body as the bridge to get into your emotional experience, because most of us can't go straight from story to emotions, because when you're triggered, you're not really that upset about the thing that's triggering you. It's all of those years, decades of unexpressed feelings, of stuck energy in your body, driving its way up to the surface, trying to get your attention. And so it's really hard to make yourself just feel all that, because it feels like it's going to do you in. The ego's trying to keep you alive, literally. That's what's trying to happen. And so you use the body as the bridge. You disconnect the story and you ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? And maybe it'll be in your throat, your heart, your stomach, sometimes shoulders, neck, whatever it is. And just give yourself a minute to get so present with that physical sensation in your body. That is where your body is physically housing the stuck energy that is keeping you stuck, that is keeping you in a rut, that is keeping you in this pattern of triggers, self-sabotage, and unhelpful patterns, this cycle, right? That's where the energy is. And then what you do is you get present and you gently, gently, with so much love, let yourself feel what's underneath it. And what happens is you end up going through layers of emotional expression. And as long as you can stay present with the emotion and keep the story out of it, it only takes a few minutes to drop through those emotional layers, and your life will start to change immediately. Once you do that process, you'll take the story off the shelf and you'll be like, think about that trigger, and here's what you're going to find when you get all the way through it. I'm not really bothered by that anymore. Yeah, he didn't buy me flowers. What a dick. I'm going to talk to him about it. Set a boundary. Like, dude, you want to be with me? You got to treat me better. But you're not going to have that over-the-top emotional response. The charge will be gone. And if you can get in the habit of doing this every time you get triggered, very quickly, you're going to be peeling away the layers of stuck energy and stuck emotions because you're being willing to be present with it. And you'll be opening up space for new experience, for new emotional experience. Because we can't have a new experience while we're not even having the old experience. We are here for the whole spectrum of the human experience, good, bad, and the ugly. And when we don't let ourselves have it, we can't move forward in life. And you can see how this is not a mind thing. You can't muscle your way through this. You have to be present and slow and still and let yourself have it. But here's what's going to happen. Not only will that trigger not bother you anymore, suddenly you'll start noticing over time, you're like, oh, I don't care what people think about me anymore. Oh, I don't mind rejection. Oh, I don't care about being embarrassed. The things that used to bother you and keep you from taking action, the triggers, will start to melt away. You'll notice yourself if relationships are hard for you, if that's a pattern that shows up, you'll start choosing better people. Like, whoa, right? Your codependency tendencies will start to melt away. You'll start to love your family despite their insistence on the tribalism, and you'll be able to expand beyond that and maybe even lift them up too. Right? This is a practice. What I took you through is a top level description of a practice called soulmatic renewal. Soulmatic renewal changes lives. It has changed my life. It has changed the lives of so many of my clients. My clients have gone on to start spiritual businesses, manifest hundreds of thousands of dollars, repair their relationships, leave relationships that were no good for them because they got clear, find their soulmate, get married. They have managed mental health issues like anxiety, BPD, even like hormonal issues. Soulmatic renewal has been an integral part of their treatment plan for all of that stuff. It is such a powerful healing modality. And if you want to learn more, go get my masterclass. The link is in my bio in my Stan Store. It's an 1.5 hour long deep dive into soulmatic renewal training. And I also show you how I pair human design with soulmatic renewal. So you can get your chart and you can look at your chart and work with the soulmatic renewal practice to really supercharge your authentic self. And it's just $27. And I also have a very special limited time offer for masterclass attendees who choose to join my mastermind, which is your in-depth deep dive work with me. You can do it or you cannot. You still get the deal on the masterclass. Go to the link in my bio and get that masterclass. And then I want to hear from you how that process goes for you. I am passionate about getting people unstuck. Literally in the title of this podcast, like that's easy, just get unstuck, right? And this is the way to do it. This is how I recovered from alcoholism. This is how I expanded on my spiritual path. This is how I healed my relationship shit, all the things, how I am successful. It is how my students and clients show up to be successful and authentic and fully aligned with their purpose, with their soul's desires, and magnetized towards it. So if you want to get unstuck, this is how I think you should get unstuck. This is what works for me and everybody else who I take it through. So let me know how that feels. And I got a couple of questions here that I'll go ahead and answer. Christine, how to know the difference between knowing which triggers are okay to handle there and which triggers should make you leave the relationship. So it's really hard. That's a really great question, Christine. It's hard to know in the moment if a trigger is valid or if it is not valid based on our conditioning and our trauma and just all the shit that we are holding in our own body. And the way that you're going to know is to go through this soulmatic renewal practice. Soulmatic renewal gives you clarity, right? When you go through this practice and you feel your way through it, suddenly you're going to be really clear on whether this relationship is working for you or not. And if you have deeply ingrained patterns of codependency and relationship patterns or something that dog you and keep you down, it might take a little while. It might not be a one and done. It also might be a one and done. Sometimes it is, and that's pretty cool. But you just keep going back with the triggers that show up in the relationship. Okay? Our relationships do trigger us. They are our mirrors. They are our greatest teachers. And for some of us, they're a shit show. They continue to be the way that we do our spiritual heavy lifting. So for me, I do soulmatic renewal. And when I do soulmatic renewal, I get more and more clear on what behaviors are okay and acceptable in a relationship, on where I need to draw a boundary, on where things need to change for a partner if I'm in a partnership, or where I need to change. Sometimes I'm the problem. I don't love it when I am, but soulmatic renewal helps me get clear about where I am the problem and helps me make adjustments and be a better partner, be in a better relationship. That's a great question, Christine. If anybody else has any questions, I am here to answer them. Okay, Dina, I feel like I've taken advantage of so much that I disassociated, but I'm tired of that. I'm tired of mean people. So I feel you, Dina, and I'm going to level with you. Victimhood is another form of self-sabotage. And I say this from one recovering victim. I'm a recovering victim. It is something that I still wrestle with when I get really triggered. I feel very taken advantage of, similar to you. You know, I've had a lot of people come in my life, take from me, and then just waltz right out or turn on me or whatever. And it has been a point of real pain in my life. It really has. And using the somatic renewal practice, it is something that I have been able to move past and transcend. And I've been able to see where my energy is attracting that, not to blame myself, but to empower myself. And guess what? I deal with that so much less now. And when I do deal with it, I no longer take it personally. It no longer triggers me. It no longer makes me feel like I'm unworthy or I'm not good enough or people are mean. Yeah, people are mean. People are going to do shitty things in life, right? But you, my love, you are such a powerful being. And wherever we have a lot of power, we have the equal amount of weakness there too. Power, fear. So you're doing better than you think you are. You're doing so good. Thank you, honey. Okay, looks like that's it for questions. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And I'm going to have the recording up in my Stan Store probably tomorrow. Give me a follow if you haven't already. So hopefully you'll get notified next time I go live with the Get Unstuck podcast. I'm going to do 9 episodes. I am so happy to be here with you. And thank you. This was really great. I love you and I appreciate you. Logging off, my dears.